Hello everyone, in this tutorial we're going to go through Microsoft Power Apps, another one of the really extremely useful tools within the Microsoft Power Platform. The first thing to address is whenever people hear of app, they may think, is this an app that I get on the App Store, on the Google Play Store? And even though you can publish these apps and you can submit them for approval to Apple to be on the App Store, 99% of the time that is not the use case for these apps. The use cases for these apps is for internal purposes, and they're basically just business apps. So why would a business need an internal app? And a really good example to give, in my opinion, is a checklist or an inspection. So most businesses will do checklists or will have to do inspections. And I was even in Starbucks the other day, whether it be a large or a small business, most of the businesses are still using pen and paper to do these checklists. And why would you want to use an app instead of doing something with pen and paper? It may seem obvious, but there's two main reasons. The first one being, if you're going to go for an app, you don't need to continue to print out the checklist. That's not going to save a huge amount of time. Obviously, you could print out, if you're doing a daily checklist, you could easily print out 200 or 300 at a time and then at one go. But the biggest time saver and use case is if you are doing a checklist, and especially if inspectors come in and check that they're being done and they ask for proof of that, you don't need to go and search for all of the pages, all of the checklists that have been completed. You don't need to store and save them. What you can do is you can just show them the app, show them the data in the app. You can store it in SharePoint, or you can store it on the Microsoft Dataverse, which I'll probably cover on a separate video. It's essentially similar to SQL. If you're a large organization with large amounts of data, that might be for you compared to SharePoint. But that is one really good use case of why a business may go for Power Apps. Another thing on Power Apps, it's pretty easy to use. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but you don't need to be a programmer, you don't need to be a developer. I am neither of those, and I am working on building out multiple checklist apps for clients. Another thing to mention about Power Apps, I'll just click into it. Where do you access it? It's within the Microsoft 365 homepage. You can actually just search for Power Apps and you'll see it here. So you do need to pay, I believe it's €20 per month if you want unlimited apps for Power Apps. If you only have one app, and that's per user, so if you have 3 or 4 users, that's €20 multiplied by 3 or 4. But you do also have an option to pay €5 per user if it's only one app. So for example, an example that I'm going to go through right now is an employee onboarding app. I'm still working on the checklist apps for clients. Whenever I get those completed, I'm going to do a separate tutorial on one of those and show you how it looks and how it feels and where it stores the data, etc. But in this one, we're going to go through a template actually that Microsoft have created just to give people a head start on building the app. But yeah, if you only have one app, then it's only a price of €5 per user. So pretty cheap compared to some businesses may pay upwards of 5, 10, 15,000, maybe even more for an app if they require one, where you can come in here. And that's probably a reason why a lot of smaller businesses just wouldn't be able to build an app out for their own custom use. It just would be too expensive. So that's where Microsoft Power Apps is, perfect. So if we go to the Create tab, you can create an app multiple different ways. You can create it from blank. You can create using a data source such as SharePoint. So you build out your list, which is essentially your tables that will store the data in SharePoint. You have multiple different options here. But for this tutorial, like I said, what we're going to focus on is some templates that Microsoft have. So these are all really good examples of use cases of apps as well. So one that we're going to look at is the onboarding app for new employees. But what you can also have apps here for are help desk, service desk, site inspections. What's really good about the site inspection one and the checklist one that again separates it from pen and paper checklists is you can actually upload photos. So whenever you're filling out the data in your phone or on the tablet of the app within Power Apps, you can actually take a photo when you're in the checklist app and just upload it, and that stores the photo in with all of the data you're entering. So that's another reason why an app is much more efficient than a pen and paper checklist. You can build an app for requesting leave. You can build an app for booking a room, and these are all templates. These give you a starting point. You can build an app for expenses. Another thing to mention about Power Apps is, as I mentioned, it's not, the purpose of it is not really to download them on the App Store. So you may be wondering, where can my employees actually find these apps? So as I shown at the start of the video, they can access them within the Microsoft 365 homepage. But another cool thing is that you can actually pin the apps to your Microsoft Teams. So employees can actually go into Microsoft Teams and they can view the app in there. They don't need to leave Teams. They can actually fill out details within Teams. So again, another really cool feature about Power Apps. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through one of the onboarding tasks. I've customized it a little bit, this app. I haven't fully completed it out because it's actually not something that I'm going to be using yet. I don't have a huge amount of employees starting or anything like that. But I thought this one was a good example just to show how the Power Apps look and how they feel. So we're going to go to the app now. So this is how the first page looks. It picks up the username. So whoever's logged in, it will always say their name. Here you have the company logo. So you click Get Started. And it gives details and tasks essentially on what you need to do whenever you just join the business. So you have a to-do list here which actually links in with To-Do on Microsoft. So if you are using that tool To-Do, it automatically syncs with that tool, which is pretty cool. You have what you need to do in terms of setting up your profile. So I've just uploaded the picture here, which is why I'm only 33% complete. I also need to write an email. So if I click here, you can see where I write the email out. I can also put in a photo, and then I would submit that to my manager, who would then send the email out if that was going to be the case. I'll go back to the preview, sorry. So if I out of here, then you can see we have some quick resources. So these are links. So if I don't have any links set up, but you can set up all your SharePoint sites, etc. here. You can see details on your team. Again, haven't fully set this up yet, but if you have a manager that you report to, who do you work closely with, this picks your contacts that you would maybe email frequently with up and automatically fills these out. Links to your OneDrive or your SharePoint you can include here. And then a little bit of details about the company can also be added in here. So you can put in some contacts, whether it be HR, finance, IT, who is the main contact of those teams. You can put in links here to the company blog, the company hub, and maybe company benefits if new hires aren't sure what the benefits are, or what the public holiday days are for a specific year. Again, you can just drop these links in here, and it just makes it easier for the new employees to find all of that information. You even have a feature in here where you could input some frequently asked questions. And yeah, essentially that's it. So just wanted to give a quick run through of one of the template apps that Microsoft have created. Again, I'm going to publish a second tutorial where I will go through one of the apps that I have created from blank, and again, it's going to be a checklist, and I think it will apply to most businesses. Of course, there's going to be different questions on the checklist for different businesses and different use cases. But as far as I'm aware, a lot of businesses are still doing checklists with pen and paper, and Power Apps is definitely the way to go, in my opinion.